funny you should say that. I had sounds a lot like Ultron written in my notes right here.
Welcome back to Pork Chops, Rice, and Peaches, where jokes about sending your dad back in time to boink your own mom are even more awkward than the concept already is. I'm Noah, that's Richard, and with that beautiful segue, we're talking about the original Terminator today.
You were kidding. You know, I thought about a couple of jokes along those lines, and I said, no, I'm not going to do that to my son. I will never show that mercy.
There's not a joke we could make that would be funnier than the awkwardness of the concept already.
Yeah, you know, did John Connor ever wonder, is his buddy here his dad?
Yes, we are talking about the 80s action classic starring the ever-entertaining Arnold Schwarzenegger as the titular character, the amazing Linda Hamilton as the very boinkable Sarah Connor, and what's his name? Michael Bean as the boinker.
So much for the family rating on today's
PG-13.
episode.
I kept it PG-13.
1984. Directed by James Cameron.
When he's not gushing over blue people.
That's right. This is one of those movies that helped establish his career. And
reminds us to this day that he actually did at one point have talent.
Ouch.
I don't like the Avatar movies.
Apparently, I've never seen them. I've never seen them. I have no interest in seeing them. But you know, the Terminator it was fun to watch the Terminator because it was fun to kind of revisit, you know, a movie that I remember first run.
Yep.
And it was one of those movies on the boat in the Navy that was played over and over again. And we had talked about that in a different episode.
In quite a few episodes,
yeah.
Hackard Theater gets brought up, and
yeah, exactly.
All the movies that you heard.
This is one of them.
It's a lot of Google searching for movies I've never heard of, and trying to find movie posters for them.
This is a movie, as I sit and I watch it, and I look at the technology of the day when it was made, and remember, you know, when it came out, how impressive the movie was.
Yeah.
But I had the same reaction rewatching it just this past week as I did when it first came out.
Okay.
Everything's great till you get to the stop-motion animation of the robot at the end, right? But it was the limitations of the technology of the time.
Yeah.
If you could have made that movie with today's CGI, that Battle with the Robot would look entirely different.
Yes.
And it would be good. But you have to take everything
as it was made
as
when
it is.
It was
made.
This
was an entertaining movie.
It always is.
It is, and it's a bit of a consume the content movie. It is one where you just, you know, you sit down. But I you know, my thought is I watch this movie, and I've had this thought over the years whenever I've sat down and I've looked at the Terminators, is didn't anybody think to just pull the plug? So you've got this idea that there's an organization, a business that creates a defense network called Skynet, and Skynet becomes self-aware, and Skynet decides that the only way to preserve its own life on Earth and preserve Earth is to annihilate all human beings. Mm-hmm. There had to be a point in time where human beings who developed Skynet said, ooh, this isn't going the way we thought it should. Let's pull the plug.
Yeah.
Let's just cut off the electrical supply. And, you know, if he happens to have a battery backup, I don't know, blow up the power station, live with a blackout for a while, and just shut the whole thing down. But nobody was smart enough to do that. You know, and that is just one of those poking holes in the original concept.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, it's one of those concepts where you just kind of have to let the potential plot holes just be plot holes.
Just be plot holes and let them go.
Yeah.
Well, and then there's another one, because truly this is what I came up with when I watched the movie. Right? If you can only send organic material back in time, and you cannot send man-made products back in time, and you try to send a human skin-covered robot back in time, how come back in time you don't just get a pile of flesh, and in the future you have a naked robot standing there going, well, that didn't work. So there was my moment of brilliance in there. Yeah. And I have to say, this is another one. I give Michael Biehn and who was the Terminator 2, because I did watch T2 also.
Which is by far the better movie, but we have to talk about that another time.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another time, but it was Robert Patrick was the actor. I have to give both Michael Biehn and Robert Patrick chops, because when Arnold Schwarzenegger goes back in time for his naked screen time, that dude is ripped. His physique, I mean, this is Mr. Universe, and he has no problem with showing that off.
No.
And there is no actor in the world who's not going to suffer by comparison when they get their shot. Right?
There's very, very few, not even actors, there's just very few people who are going to compare if you throw them back into that situation.
Arnold in his prime. Yeah. Right? And both of those men recreated that scene, and I was like, chops to them for their acting guts. Yeah. They did a really, But so we have this Terminator, this robot being sent back in time to kill Sarah Connor, so she doesn't give birth to John Connor, who apparently leads the resistance in the future.
Okay.
All right. That's the premise of the movie, and Kyle Reese is sent back in time to protect Sarah Connor against the Terminator machine.
Yep.
Which he eventually does, so that they can have a Terminator 2, 3, 4... Are they up to 5 yet?
Oh, there's so many.
They
did the original 3.
Right.
They did Salvation. I think that's the one where it's Christian Bale is John Connor.
Right.
And then they've made like 2 or 3 since then.
Have they really?
Yeah, they've made like 2 or 3 where they were trying to like do these weird reboot things to them. Like in one of them, the Terminator is successful in going back and killing John Connor, but then like he stays in the past and ages and realizes that he settles down with a family and realizes that maybe he shouldn't have done this, so he's willing to help the person who's supposed to be the next John Connor. It's so dumb. They just keep trying, and they're rehashing the same idea over and over and over and over again.
Won't be watching that one.
So yeah, the franchise as a whole just there's not a lot of potential concept, like more concepts to explore with it past Terminator 2.
Right.
Because and then there was the Sarah Connor Chronicles TV series, which is just weird.
Never saw it.
It was a 90s project. I don't know.
Wow.
But the you got to commend at least the first 2 movies, and very obviously the first movie, for establishing this standard AI,
right?
And trying to eliminate humanity concept, at least bring it to the mainstream. Because what happens in any movie nowadays where AI is the threat, we look at it and we go, did they never watch Terminator? Age of Ultron?
Well,
Age of Ultron could have been fixed if Peter Parker was there to make another old movie reference. Say, hey, Mr. Stark, did you watch that really old movie with the governor of California as the robot? Maybe this isn't such a good idea, Mr. Stark. I don't feel so good about it.
Funny you should say that. I had sounds a lot like Ultron written in my notes right here. Yeah.
But it has a legacy. There's a reason it is as fondly, at least the first two movies are as fondly remembered as they are.
So in looking at this, one of the things that I came across was a lawsuit against James Cameron, which was won for plagiarism, basically, because there was an episode of the old TV show The Outer Limits called The Soldier, and many of the concepts that were in Terminator were in this, and that Outer Limits episode was based on, I believe, a short story written in the 50s.
Okay.
So this whole concept...
Sounds like an Isaac Asimov type of thing.
It wasn't. I would have known, I would have recognized that name.
It sounds like it, though, with his rules of robotics and everything.
So there's, we complain that there's nothing new, that they keep, rehashing the old thing. Well, this is a rehash of a rehash of a rehash. But interesting, they always go back to short stories. They always go back to books or short stories. They go back to the written word. And I think that's where some of the best science fiction work is done.
I think it's a case of people like these writers. They write just a short that they think is a cool concept, but they don't have any idea of where to go with it, or they don't want to invest the time into trying to make a full novel out of it. And then they just like, okay, here's a cool concept. Let's just write a short story and slap it into one of my other books.
Let it go. Yep. So there's a couple of things that I really enjoyed. Do you know the actor Bill Paxton?
I know the name.
I think he was in Tombstone. He's had a long career, right? This is one of his first movies.
Really?
And he was the punk at the beginning of the movie with the spiky blue hair. Yeah, that was him. And I'm watching these guys, and I'm like, who is that guy? Stop the movie real quick, pull out the phone, check who it was. That was Bill Paxton in one of his early roles.
Makes you wonder if we're going to see the one of the thugs from the Batman from last year.
Oh, yes.
Just become this bigger name later on down the line and be like, oh, he got his start in Batman. I'm getting beat up by Robert Pattinson.
Well, one of the things
Fun to see that.
One of the things that I do enjoy going back and watching these things is looking at the early performances, and I also look at those actors that I grew up watching that you see, and I always enjoyed. Paul Winfield played Lieutenant Traxler, the police detective.
Yeah.
And he was a good actor. And then I had to look up the guy's name. Dr. Silberman was played by an actor named Earl Boone. And he's one of those faces on TV where you've seen him in a bunch of different things. You've seen him in movies. You never bother to learn his name. He's just a good, dependable character actor.
Okay.
And he's one of them, So so it was just kind of this was a fun trip down memory lane. And I think for I would recommend this for the younger generation.
Yeah.
If they can detach from the quality of the CGI.
Yeah.
And just look at the story. Right. And the story presents an age-old question. It doesn't ask it and answer it.
Yeah.
But it just presents it. If we have the ability to go back in time, should we? Because what we can do in life and what we should do in life
are two completely different.
Two completely different things. Yes. So, but
although to their credit, I think saving the human race probably a good idea. Maybe preventing the robot uprising might be in our interest.
Preventing a robot uprising might be in our interest, but these some of these questions, and I've asked this one before in one of our earlier episodes. One of the things that really bothers me about modern tech is deepfake technology. Deepfake. You know what? We can, but we shouldn't. That is going to be used in bad ways, and it is going to cause a lot of problems for your generation. It's really, it's really going to be bad when it gets into the wrong hands.
Yep.
if you can detach, if you haven't seen the Terminator and you can detach yourself from the quality of the special effects, very definitely a movie worth watching.
Oh yeah,
it's fun.
It's just a classic. It's a classic.
It is.
It really is. And yeah, and the performances are solid, and it's always fun to see Arnold Schwarzenegger attempt to speak English in the early days.
Well,
he's gotten like his acting did dramatically increase from like when he started.
Oh yeah, most
I wouldn't say
definitely.
he's like a fantastic, great actor, but he knows what he's good at.
And
he can play it, and
yes.
it's entertaining. It's always entertaining.
Well,
to see.
Apparently he had a lot of difficulty saying the line "I'll be back" because he couldn't say "I'll." I will.
I'll be back.
And he tried to get the script rewritten to "I will be back," and Cameron wouldn't do it.
Yeah. And you have to have this one-liner.
Well, you know what? It became a trademark of his career, which is why I believe in
Expendables 2.
Expendables 2, Church says, "You always say that."
Next time I'll be back.
So, for me, trip down memory lane. For you, when did you see the Terminator? Because I didn't show it to you.
I was like 14 or... You did show it to me.
I did?
But I was like 14 or 15, and it was sitting in the old house basement, and it was on Netflix.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
pretty sure.
Okay.
Back on the Wii.
Who?
Yeah, when we had the Wii and we were using that for Netflix, it was so good
all
for
about
Netflix. But yeah, no, I think we watched it. I think we watched it in the basement of the old house. You were just like, yeah, we were just going through a bit of time where we were watching
a whole bunch of old stuff.
Just some old stuff.
Gotcha.
We watched that. We watched Terminator 2. A couple months later, I found the original Highlander on there, and we were just...
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, this was probably a good 11, 12 years ago that I first saw it, and I even enjoyed it back then.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just fun. I mean, and I have always enjoyed the character of Sarah Connor. I think she's a fun character, especially in Terminator 2, where they give her a much deeper arc, and they've shown how much she's grown. But I think Sarah Connor is a decent starting protagonist for the franchise, and just up there with Ripley from Aliens, and I just enjoy.
Gotcha.
There's something about when the 80s action flick turns the tables, and the girl's the badass,
right?
And you're just like, oh, this is so cool.
Well, so
it's like
I saw a copy online of the
take notes
of the script for the movie.
Yeah.
And Sarah Connor was supposed to be 19, which I never really thought that was how young she was when that came out. But I do remember that she wanted the bigger role, more realistic character development. So when you get that scene in Terminator 2 where she's doing chin-ups on the bed frame, and you take a look at her shoulders, she got herself in shape for that, just to show this is what this woman would do if she was if she was doing that.
Did you hear Jennifer Lawrence made that stupid comment
a
while ago? I'm like,
what a knucklehead.
Honey, no. Here. This.
I remember hearing that comment. The first woman given the lead.
So oblivious to the history of cinema, the history of the field you work in. Oh. To say that you were the first. For those of you who don't know, Jennifer Lawrence made a comment about being the first female action star a while ago, and then she quickly was like, people were calling her out on it, and then she was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Sigourney Weaver was the first person who came to mind in Alien, and then the list just goes on from there. And you look at the Chinese martial artists, Michelle, is it I don't want to hack her name. Yeoh.
Yeah.
Yeoh. I do not know how to pronounce that.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
But she's been starring in movies, and she's fantastic. So
but now I want to know that we're on that topic. Ripley versus Sarah Connor.
Ripley versus Sarah Connor. Wow. There's a question.
I just tell you, I don't want to be on the sidelines watching that fight.
Oh, I don't want to be. I don't want to be in the same zip code of that fight. No, absolutely not, man. Girl fights at school were always worse than guy fights. Guys just pushed each other. Girls, man, their hair pulling, clothes were flying, fists were flying. You never wanted to get close to one of those. Even the administrators didn't. They would just stand, from a distance. Ladies, stop.
Future script writers, take notes. Those are the role models for the strong female protagonist.
Yep.
Those are the examples people should be following. And it's another thing that the Terminator just does really well. And obviously Aliens does too, but we're on Terminator this video. So it's something that, they set up really well.
Well, outside of saying I like it, you should go watch it. I don't know what else there is to say about the Terminator.
There's really not much else. I feel like there's more to talk about Terminator 2. So let us know in the comments if you'd like to hear about Terminator 2. Just because, it is the better film, but the Terminator is just a good classic to go back and
I think no. Is the sequel better than the original with Terminator 2?
Do you want the debate? Let us know.
Oh, it's gonna be a debate. I pretty much know which camp I'm in.
I know which camp I'm in. Let us know if you want to see that video down below. Excuse me.
Got anything else?
Nah.
Hey,
thank you so much for tuning in.
It's a quick one today, but yeah, we watched the Terminator. Go watch it. Have some fun. Make a big bowl of popcorn. Grab your favorite beverage and just kick back for a little mindless entertainment.
And if you want more topics like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and comment down below what you would like to hear us talk about.
Thanks for tuning in today.
And we'll see ya.
You freaking destroyed me.
I did.
You just destroyed me with that intro. Oh, my goodness. I thought I had a good intro. I had nothing. I had absolutely nothing. Oh, my goodness. I didn't even want to touch that subject matter.